Hello and welcome to episode 48 of the Etch weekly live show. I'm your host for today. My name is Adam Burt and I want to thank you for tuning in. Here's what's coming up on today's show. First up today, we've got a discussion with Dan Thomas all about game development in the cloud. That's coming up in like 30 seconds, so if you're here for that, definitely stick around. Later on in the show, I'll be joined by Ben Joy, and we'll be checking out Back 4 Blood, the beta of the new zombie game from Warner Brothers and Turtle Rock Studios, and we'll be recapping some of the latest games industry news for you as well. But without further ado, let's get straight into our first segment, which is a pre-recorded segment this week, and it's Dan Thomas talking all about game dev in the cloud. See you soon. Hello and welcome to this segment of the Etch weekly live show. I'm Adam Burt and I'm joined now by Dan Thomas. Dan, how's it going?
Very good, thank you, Adam. And yourself?
I'm not too bad, thank you. We're here today to talk about game dev in the cloud, and I guess one of the inspiring stories that inspired this discussion in the first place is about Unity this week. If you're not aware, Unity, the company behind the popular game engine of the same name, have this week announced plans to acquire Parsec, which is a remote desktop tool for devs and creatives. You can also play games on it if you want, for $320 million in cash. This is Unity's biggest acquisition to date, and we thought it was interesting. And Dan has been doing some thinking and some research about game development in 2021, in the cloud specifically. You know, remote working is such a hot topic at the minute as we begin to hopefully emerge from the pandemic, but still have a sort of hybrid approach to working. So we thought we'd get Dan on the show and we'd have a little chat about game dev in the cloud. Dan, what is game dev in the cloud for those who don't know?
So, yes, you mentioned the pandemic, and it's fair to say that has had an impact on the way a lot of us work, particularly office-based people, and whilst we've all had challenges, we've all had to make changes to the way we work, changes to our IT setups, and so on and so forth. I think the impact it's had on game development studios has been significant. So whilst, say, for example, for us, we were what we'd like to say kind of remote enabled or remote friendly before. So it was as simple as pick up our laptops and go and do what we do from home. Albeit that may be oversimplifying it somewhat, but that's essentially what we did. For game studios, there's a few more complexities to that. So we've mentioned this on the show before, but things like getting builds of a game. We know games like the latest Call of Duty, Red Dead Redemption 2, some of the sort of reaching the hundreds of gigabytes. And for people like in QA roles, for example, you need to test the latest build. You've got to get a 100 gigabyte install onto your machine to do your testing. And when you send your army of developers and testers and everybody else involved home onto their home grade internet connections, that can be a challenge. Game development and playing games often requires beastie hardware. So these huge graphics cards and desktops and things, again, logistically very cumbersome and very challenging. There's also issues around things like licensing. So a lot of game development software relies on server-based licenses that rely on computers being physically connected to the local network to even allow the software to run. Things like this. All sorts of challenges that perhaps we don't appreciate as sort of those not so closely tied to the game development process. So when the pandemic happened, I kind of did my digging, was like asking people what are the challenges, and this is why I know about these things. And also around this time, kind of Parsec was coming onto the radar. So I've been curious and thinking about it. And I think there's potentially a lot of interesting solutions around this idea of game production in the cloud. So Parsec, for those that don't know, it's essentially it's a streaming tool that streams a desktop to a lightweight browser, not dissimilar to how we've got things like the xCloud service from Game Pass, where you can play games on mobile devices just in a web browser. You can use a tool like Parsec to kind of replicate that kind of experience. So we can have a high-powered machine in one location, and you can essentially use it on even on mobile devices. So that enables this idea of the cloud-based game production, and cloud service providers, the likes of Azure, AWS, Google Cloud, and various others. They're also starting to get their heads around GPU, cloud-based GPUs. So that's historically not been so prolific. So you can do your remote desktop onto a virtual machine in the cloud previously, but as soon as you came to do anything perhaps a little bit more visually intensive, high frame rate, high graphic fidelity, that was when it would perhaps not be such a great experience. Fine for editing a Word document or changing a few server settings, but yeah, like a 3D application or testing a game wasn't really viable until tools like Parsec came along and cloud GPUs enabled that to scale. So what we now have is the facility to create essentially a replication of your previously studio-based infrastructure, so high-powered GPU machines in the cloud, and then your users can leverage that on lower-powered devices anywhere in the world. And yeah, I think that's a really powerful concept, potentially really strong opportunity for the evolution of the modern game studio and traditional businesses as well, to kind of decouple the context of where you work from the infrastructure and setup that you have. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense, yeah. And if anyone at home is wondering about how Parsec works and whether it really can do the things it says it can do, you can get Parsec. If you go and look for it for free, you can use it as an individual, and they do encourage people to use it for co-op gaming in games that don't offer traditional co-op. Maybe if you've got like a couch co-op game, you can play it over the internet with something like Parsec. So you can test it in your own way, and I guess the big thing, and you kind of hinted at this in terms of the way that technology has advanced over the last 18 months, but also recent years, is just about the lack of compromise there. So, like you say, historically, remote desktop control, you could do it, but it wasn't a sort of experience that you would want to do on a regular basis. It would be like, if we have to, I could use a really slow, clunky interface to control your mouse from here, for example. But Parsec's pitch and their competitors has been, well, we've moved on since then. You could do that, and you could almost be indistinguishable from your own desktop if the software and the machines behind it are good enough. It could be like having that high-powered machine in front of you, even though it's obviously not. It's thousands of miles away, probably in an oil rig under the sea, knowing Microsoft or someone like that.
Absolutely, yeah, and we're seeing like you can achieve kind of 60 FPS, 1080p, 4K even in some instances. And yeah, there are a lot of mitigating factors, and for like real fast first-person shooter type gameplay, it's maybe not the perfect experience yet. But for game development, game production, a lot of those scenarios are well catered for, and it also overcomes a lot of other barriers. So your virtual desktop is sat, as you said, kind of in a cloud-based data center. It can be extremely powerful. It's got an incredible connection speed, so and an extremely reliable connection as well. So even if your home connection is unstable, your work environment is going to be on this highly robust. So if you are, you're still going to have to rely on source control, checking files in and out, but you can do all of that in the virtual network, which will be at extremely high speeds. And as we know, the cloud does extend around the globe. So your virtual offices, or your real offices or your real workforce can work more seamlessly around the world and following the time zones and things like that. You could literally be, say, working on a scene and then finish your day up, and then the person in the next studio around in the next time zone, they can literally pick up and carry on where you left off without needing to save the files, send them across, check them in or anything like that. They can literally take over from where you left off, which I think is really interesting. There's been a lot of issues with, like I mentioned, home grade internet connections. We've all got, many people will have bandwidth or data transfer limits, things like that. And if you are dealing with gigs and gigs or terabytes and terabytes of data that that's quickly consumed, this is no different to streaming a Netflix movie. Really, it's just it's sending you the visual data only and not doing the processing, not actually moving the files down. Really a lot of potential with that. And I know the cloud service providers, Microsoft particularly, they're investing in this and exploring this. Obviously, we're now seeing Unity taking an interest, and Parsec is positioned but as a game playing tool as well as an IT and infrastructure tool. So that's really interesting to see Unity getting into that. We've seen Unreal investing in production and sort of the game kind of ecosystem, not just the consumer side of things. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Unreal coming up with something at some point. It's a very, very interesting and sort of rapidly evolving space that's been absolutely hurried along by the pandemic.
Yeah, we actually talked on last week on the show. We talked about Microsoft opening a new branch of their Azure gaming division here in the UK. They've recognised that the UK is a centre for potential growth in games. They have a lot of belief in the studios and developers who live in the UK, and their mission is to obviously there's a variety of things that Microsoft offer, but one of the key things is this Azure support, the idea of offloading computational stuff, whether that's in the game itself or this kind of co-working environment. So it'll be interesting to see how that maybe impacts the industry locally over the next few years. I wanted to just underscore something as well about the file sizes. You talked about how big games can be, and that is really, really worth highlighting, because people know that games are big. If you've got Call of Duty or Destiny 2 or Red Dead Redemption, like one of these games that is massive. Obviously there's, maybe you could ask how well have they optimized it, but that is optimized. That is not the full size of the files that they're working with. That's not the raw files of the game. So you think about how big that is, how much of your hard drive it takes up, how long it takes you to download an update when there's a 40 gig patch. That's the kind of challenges we're talking about dealing with, because you could have to download several versions of that a day potentially, and they could be unoptimized, and they could be twice as big as that.
And games are not getting any smaller. They are only going to get bigger. The worlds are getting bigger. The fidelity is getting higher. It's absolutely going to be an increasing challenge. And it's not just development either. I actually kind of did a very crude version of this when we had to run the Guildford Games Festival last year remotely, where we would have previously had an in-person event, so we decided we would stream this. And we didn't want to rely on, again, my home internet connection for this. We also were streaming to multiple platforms. We were streaming to Steam and to Twitch. And so I set up a virtual environment in the cloud to stream the content from. So even if I got disconnected, things like the pre-recorded video and things like that, they could be dual streamed on these extremely high connectivity virtual machines, and it was just a much more robust approach for doing that, rather than just relying on my laptop and my home internet connection that we all know are not the most reliable. And even if you do pay for the premium services, you're at the mercy of the builder up the road cutting through the line. So there's lots of applications for this beyond just games playing or games development. It extends to the whole ecosystem. Yeah,
and we've seen a lot of delays over the last 18 months plus from studios who have struggled in various ways to adjust to the pandemic and adjust to maybe new ways of working from home. But there are studios out there who are making a success of this. Obviously, games have shipped in the last 18 months, and there are also studios out there who are remote studios anyway. They were remote even before COVID-19 was headline news. I know that one studio in particular that you really appreciated in terms of what they put out was the Ori games and the studio behind those.
Moon Studios, yeah, they've been remote and producing some really good quality games for sure. And it's interesting now, kind of seeing the next level of the really large studios and how they've managed. And it'll be interesting. We mentioned kind of some of the Microsoft technologies. I've seen some of they've even kind of been using some of the cloud computational capabilities to automate some of the more repetitive kind of testing process and things. So you can just have an army of machines in the cloud testing your game, testing every scenario, and it's just incredible, very exciting. Really keen to see sort of how this all pans out. But definitely an area worth taking a look at if you are setting up a studio or looking to evolve your studio. Consider what it might look like in a cloud-based environment.
Cool. Well, thanks very much, Dan.
Thank you.
And we're going to... Sorry, go ahead. Finish what you're going to say.
Just letting me talk all nerdy about cloud and game production. That's my element, so I appreciate it.
Well, we appreciate it, and we're going to throw back to the studio to continue the rest of the show. See you again.
Thank you.
I need men and women who want to take the fight to them.
Welcome back. You're watching the Etch Play Weekly live show with me, Adam Burt, and him, Ben Joy. And we are checking out Back for Blood. This is a game that was in open beta, actually kind of a closed beta, I guess, over the weekend. The open beta is this weekend. So I got an invite code to this. We checked it out, and here's some footage that I captured. We're going to talk over it. Ben, are you ready to take the fight to the zombies, or the Ridden, or whatever they're called in this thing?
Always. I'm constantly ready, so I'm glad we finally get to do it.
You're always ready to throw down when it comes to zombies. This game comes out of Warner Brothers.
Good one.
Comes out of Warner Brothers and Turtle Rock Studios, the original creators of Left 4 Dead. This game is what you might call a spiritual successor to Left 4 Dead, as evidenced by the title. And when the gameplay starts, you'll see it has a lot in common. One thing it does have, which is a little bit different, and you saw a little bit of it there, and you'll see a bit more now as we continue through the character process, is it's got this sort of deck building element that they've kind of, I guess, stuck on it to make it a little bit different to Left 4 Dead. So you have a deck of cards, and then during a run, you're doing missions, killing zombies, getting from point A to point B. Those cards apply kind of modifiers, and you could draw cards basically to be like, on this run, I have this special power, or this is going to happen on this run, which makes it a little bit different to what it would usually be. So here's some cards here, and I can't remember which one I picked, so we're going to find out together. So that's a little bonus card that you could do something with that. If you collect copper, you get some bonuses. And I had to pick from this list. I'm pretty sure... What did I pick? Oh, I picked the melee one. I picked that melee heals 2 health every time you kill a zombie. So if I beat a zombie up, I get some health back, like a messed up vampire. Ben Joy, are you a Left 4 Dead fan? Are you a zombies killing fan?
I do like killing zombies, but I haven't actually played Left 4 Dead. So
why do I invite you on the show?
I don't know why you invite me. I mean, I don't know why. Have you not learned your lesson yet?
Have you ever played a video game?
What's a game?
So, for the benefit of the people who don't know, which apparently includes Ben, you start every mission in a safe room, and you're always going from a safe room to another safe room, is usually the way these missions work. So you can see out here, some zombies, and if I open the door, then the mission kind of starts. So let's bash some zombies. Should go without saying, this game is rated M for mature. So if you are squeamish, feel free to tune out, and we'll see you again next week. And yeah,
Are these fast-moving zombies?
they're pretty fast.
Traditional, like, slow ones. That's how they walk. I wasn't doing like a geezer walk as a zombie.
Yeah, no, they're pretty fast. So every Left 4 Dead game and Back 4 Blood now has this sort of, there's like standard bits like this where the zombies just kind of milling around, and they might run at you if you make a lot of noise, but every mission has sort of key points, and you will see one during this video, where something happens that's really loud, attracts loads of zombies, they all come running really quickly, so that's going to happen later on. Let's see if I can get a gun. Yeah.
I feel like that's more fun in a video game to have like fast-moving zombies. It just feels like you get the adrenaline going a bit more than quite slow-moving.
Yeah, I think I agree. And I also, the melee combat was okay. I think other games have actually done melee combat better. I pretty quickly switched to a gun and found the gun to be a lot more enjoyable. So here's, yeah, these birds can alert a horde. If you scare the birds, they'll all squawk and loads of zombies will come running. So I'm obviously going to go and try and go around, and that guy is...
Coward. An idiot.
That guy's a dumbass. This one was a pretty small horde though. It was like just a handful of zombies turned up.
Are you playing online with people here, or are you playing with like AI?
So, no, all these are real people. I made sure this is a clip where no one said anything offensive on Xbox Live voice chat.
How many takes did that take?
Actually, not too many. So you can collect ammo and stuff, standard kind of thing. You can see in the bottom left, the aim of the game is teamwork. So we are supposed to be working together. You see everyone's health, you see where they've got med packs. You're trying to get to the end together as a team.
No survivors.
There's some zombies over there. What's your favourite zombie film?
I like. Is it Dead Winter? Is that the one where it's they're fighting the Nazi zombies? I feel like I've got the name wrong. The one where he's got the Molotov cocktail. He tries to throw it out the cabin, and he just ends up throwing it into the corner of the cabin. I don't think it's supposed to be a comedy, but I laughed my ass off during that film. It is really funny.
Okay, well there you go. Apparently there's a Nazi zombie film out there, and I don't know.
Is it? Oh, maybe it's called Dead. Maybe it's called Dead Snow. Maybe that's what it's called. I think it's Dead Snow. Yeah, I think it's Dead. Yeah, it's Dead Snow. What's yours? Is it the new one with Dave Bautista in?
I haven't actually seen it. That's Army of the Dead. I haven't seen that yet.
No, me neither. I keep meaning to check it out, but I didn't expect a zombie movie with Dave Bautista to be over 2 hours, and it is over 2 hours, and I was like, I might get to it at some point. I haven't got 2 hours to give it right now.
I like the classics. I like 28 Days Later, even though the director claims it's not a zombie film. It definitely is.
I'm not a massive horror fan, but I'll do zombies. But yeah, I'm a bit of a scaredy cat, so I typically stay away from the scary stuff.
How do you feel about this thing? Are you scared of that?
I'm scared that your progress is being made. I've shown me some jump. What's disappointing is you're rewatching yourself do this, because I know you're like me and you're in fact you're even worse than me at jump scares. I would have liked to watch you get in the jump scares. Like right now, you know what's coming, so unfortunately no one's going to see you jump. But
I mean, there's no jump scares really in this.
No, that's a shame. I'd love to see like a zombie run up behind you and scare the bejesus out of you.
They do come up behind you sometimes, but.
Oh, sorry for the H-bomb.
What hell?
Yeah, we don't say HE double hockey sticks on this show. So how do you find this in comparison to Left 4 Dead? As good? Not as good? Not comparable?
It pains me to say it, I don't think it's as good. Which, I mean, it's coming out years later as well. You would have thought it would be, I guess, more of a step up. They've obviously tried some stuff with the cards mechanic, but for me that didn't add much. And then moment to moment, the levels and the gunplay and the characters, it's been done before and it's been done better, I think, sadly. But if you don't believe me, you can try it for yourself by signing up for the open beta this weekend. Anyone can sign up for that one. So if you want to play Friday, Saturday or Sunday, you can Google Back 4 Blood with the number 4 and you'll probably find their website. You can sign up for that and make your own mind up. You haven't got to listen to me. You haven't got to listen to Ben.
People rarely do.
Hopefully,
well, it's still in beta, right? So it might get a bit better. I guess nothing major is going to change. So I guess it would be more refinement. Which, if you're not really digging it right now, the refinements probably aren't going to change your mind. But who knows?
Doesn't look like we're going around.
So here's one of those things I was talking about when I turn this on, which I've done. There's a loud noise, and there's going to be loads of zombies now because that's going to attract them.
Is there some backstory as to where these zombies came from?
Probably. I didn't.
Kind of just
I'm sure there was stuff I should have been paying attention to that I definitely did not.
You just want to shoot some zombies in the face. That's fine, I get it.
Yeah. I'm not even sure if they're technically supposed to be zombies. I think they keep calling them ridden, and I think that means they're like disease ridden, but maybe technically not zombies. But it's like a 28 Days Later thing again, where he's like, they're not actually zombies. It's like, for all intents and purposes, these are definitely zombies.
Yeah. they're disease-ridden with a really bad case of zombie-itis.
Yeah.
It's getting quite hectic now.
Yeah, there's quite a lot.
It seems like none of you are really losing much health. Like, did you find it quite easy, or?
This first mission I definitely did. I definitely did get to a point where it became overwhelmingly difficult. So you know that big chunky one that showed up. So you get those sometimes, and there's a few different ones, and they've all got different like abilities. Those are kind of like boss zombies, I guess. And they, in fact, there's another one shooting those weird little. He's shooting me with like, I don't know, a web. I don't know. Spider zombie.
I heard Spider-Man's been turned into a zombie.
Yeah.
Pretty well, Peter.
And
Peter Parker.
when you have a bunch of those, they can kind of incapacitate you quite easily because they can like stick you in like sticky stuff, or they can like grab you and start like crushing you, and someone else has got to come save you. So you have to work as a team. But there's definitely, I mean, I found it easy to get into, but it definitely ramped up pretty quickly as we moved through the levels.
I mean, I'm flattered, but
I mean, I guess they want to get you through level 1. If you gotta get through level 1, you're probably not gonna pick it up many times.
So there's, sadly, this didn't happen. I don't think it actually happens that much in reality. It's more of an exciting idea that never really happens when you're playing online. With the safe rooms, when you get to them, obviously the idea is you get everyone inside and you close the door. But it's possible, obviously, for certain people not to make it. You can close the door and leave them behind. You can let zombies into the safe room by mistake. All of which adds an extra dimension. But we're getting pretty close here. I think there's just a couple of zombies upstairs, and then that's it. Let's watch me shoot them.
Yeah, shoot them real good.
There you go. Take that.
Boom.
How long do you think you would last in a real zombie apocalypse?
Well, we're all
A minute.
still breathing, so that's something.
I'd do something that I would think would be cool. Like, yeah, I'm going to do this. It's going to be sick, and I totally mess it up. And I'd tend to be on the zombie side for a while. Yeah.
Well, that's Back for Blood. We're going to go to some news now, so I'm going to transition away from this. And we're back. You're watching the Etch Play Weekly live show with me, Adam Burt, and him, Ben Joy. We're going to talk about some news. You ready to talk about some news, Ben?
Always ready to talk about some news. I'm always ready to fight zombies and talk about the news.
Those are your two key strengths.
Yep.
Cool. Well, the first news story then is about Pax Australia. So Pax is a popular video game expo for fans and for companies to show off new games to those fans. This year's edition was due to take place on October the 8th to 10th in Melbourne, but it's been postponed in a message on the event's official website. And I've got a quote from them here, which I'll read for you now. At the start of the year, we were optimistic we'd be able to come together in person this October. We've been working hard with our partners and exhibitors to deliver the best possible version of PAX Australia 2021, but due to the ongoing impact of COVID-19 in Australia, the next edition of PAX will now take place in 2022. There will still be a digital event, which is what they did last year as well, and refunds probably going to happen. They're coming in the next few days, so if you've got a ticket, just check your emails in a few days, and there'll also be more announced about the online schedule as well. Not entirely surprising. It's a bit of an interesting thing, I guess, worldwide, that certain countries are starting to really roll back pandemic restrictions, but other places maybe are not. So obviously people in Australia need to stay safe. And sad news for PAX fans and convention attendees, but probably the right call to make sure that everyone stays safe. What do you reckon, Ben?
Yeah, Australia have definitely pretty much all the way through been one of the countries which has been really, really strict on the lockdown. I think it only takes a couple of cases and they go into lockdown very, very quickly, which, you know, if that works for them, that's great. I'm not an expert in that. I've seen it in other things from Australia, like obviously no one probably here is interested, but the Rugby League World Cup has been delayed.
Talk about the rugby on the show. It's
Because-
the one
because
rule.
of
You're
the-
not allowed to talk about rugby on the show.
Well, I broke it. So they're not coming to the UK because of COVID. So I'm not surprised to see events in their country get postponed as well because of it. They're taking a very hard stance with it, which is, from what we've seen, is probably a sensible thing to do. If they've weighed up the pros and cons and they think that's the most safe thing to do, I'm not going to tell them. I'm not going to say that that's wrong. So yeah, just a shame that it's not going ahead. But the most important thing is everyone stays safe and it runs in a safe manner when it does run. Hopefully again next year.
I don't know what you mean. I think strangers on the internet are the best place for fair health advice and advising on the lockdown. Next up, we've got some Sonic news, and it's official. Knuckles will be joining Sonic the Hedgehog in Paramount Pictures' upcoming live-action movie sequel, and he'll be played by Idris Elba, or Big Driss, as I like to call him. I think he calls himself that sometimes. I hope he does. I hope I haven't made that up. Knuckles' inclusion...
That's just you on the internet.
Knuckles' inclusion in the movie seemed like it was probably going to happen. Some fans did spot there was a kind of prop that looked like him on set back in April. But now we know it's official, and there's been a tease of the character's look. I mean, this is a real tease. You don't see much of him at all. A close-up of Knuckles' knuckles, as in his fist, was shared by Idris on social media. Like, I don't know. I'm just clarifying. So Idris shared this on Twitter. He's just been seen in Suicide Squad, which is out in cinemas right now. And he's voicing the character in Sonic the Hedgehog 2, which is scheduled to arrive in cinemas on the 8th of April 2022. Ben Joy, I know you are a Sonic fan.
By which
I mean a pervert. How do you feel about Idris Elba joining the cast of Sonic the Hedgehog 2? Are you excited?
I think I am excited for Sonic the Hedgehog 2. I received a lot of flack from you boys in the player team when I made the comment that I thought going into Sonic the Hedgehog 1, it was either going to be the best film of the year or it was going to be absolutely terrible. And then I received even more flack when I described it as very middle of the road. But yeah, I'm excited. I like Sonic. I like Idris Elba, or the Big Driss, as you like to call him in your fan fiction on the internet.
Hashtag Big Driss.
Big Driss. So yeah, I'm excited. I like I've forgotten his name now, the guy who plays Sonic. And the first one was enjoyable. It was an enjoyable movie. Sequels are often not that great, but I'll see it. I'll see it because I'm interested. I'm a big Sonic fan. So yeah, unexpected. I wouldn't have expected to see him named as Knuckles, but I'm excited to see the movie. We can go see it together.
We could do, but I'm not sure I want to be seen in public with you. With the movie coming out, are there any other characters you're hoping to see? What is your dream casting for other characters from the Sonic universe?
I don't know. I think they've already nailed it. I mean, Jim Carrey as Dr. Robotnik was kind of the dream. Like, I didn't know that was the dream until I saw it. So I don't know. I don't really know because I wouldn't have necessarily put Idris Elba as Knuckles, but I might love it. So I'm going to leave it to the directors.
You trust the studio?
I trust the studio implicitly. I trust the studio with my life.
Okay, well, like I say, that film's coming out in April next year, if all goes well, and we look forward to seeing it.
It will.
And that's our show. That's all we've got for you today. Thank you for tuning in. And if you liked any part of the show today, please make sure that you follow us here on Twitch. You can press the purple button down in the corner if you're watching us live. Follow us right now. You'll be notified when we go live in future. We do a bunch of different streams, and this is just our main one. So yeah, we'd love to have you. If you're watching us on YouTube, which is also cool, you can subscribe on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and smash that like button, whatever the kids say on YouTube. And you'll get notified when we post new videos. So either way, you'll stay in touch with us. I'm Alan Burt, and he's been Ben Joy. Thanks for your time, Ben.
Anytime.
And we'll be back.
Not anytime, but I'm usually here on a Thursday.
Yeah, maybe not like middle of the night.
Yeah.
But usually Thursday.
Usually a Thursday.
We'll be back next week on Thursday at 4 p.m. right here on twitch.tv/etchplay. See you soon. Bye. Keep waving.
They go fast.